Good day. What is one of the most common things that maybe you're struggling with, and I bet you that most people I've worked with struggle with too? And you guessed it, it's food rules. So today I'm going to talk about how to break down some of the most common food rules, or at least one today, maybe more, see how much time we have. And then the next step is, what do we do about it? So I'm your host, I'm Tracy Brown. I'm a somatic dietitian and a tuned eating specialist, and we're going to be breaking down food rules. I think it's one of the most common stumbling blocks at the beginning of this process, this belief that certain foods are weight loss foods, certain foods are weight gain foods, that we have a lot of magical thinking around it. And it's really important to just start from the beginning and think about a little bit of nutrition science real quick, is that we have 3 macronutrients. So everything that we eat is made up of these 3 main things, either some of all of them, or maybe it's a food that it's just all one thing. So for example, we know there's carbohydrates, protein, and fat, right? And so every food that we've ever eaten is some mix of those 3 things, or maybe something like an apple. It's just almost 100% carbohydrate. And let's say something like, butter. Butter's an easy one, right? It's all fat. And so every other food is some kind of combination, usually, of the mix. And so what's really interesting, I'll see people, and maybe you relate to this, and this is what we're going to talk about today, is we elevate certain foods, and we've done that because of marketing and cultural conditioning. It's not really much based on a whole bunch of science, but people will say well, I can't eat, I'll make up something, French fries. It's got too much fat or too much carbs, and fat and carbs make you fat. And then I'll look at their food and I'm just like, well, wait a minute. Don't you have that oatmeal with the peanut butter in it every day for breakfast? And if you break that down, it's all going to come back to either protein, carbs, and fat, which is either glucose, amino acids, or fatty acids. And so because of our cultural conditioning, because of our fat phobic culture, because of our kind of orthorexic even culture, Western culture at least, that we feel like we could never eat something that has some added fat or sugar, heaven forbid, then we'll be, seen as, unhealthy, unworthy, not trying, doesn't care, blah, blah, blah. And we all know here that, this channel, this thing here, what I do is to dismantle all that magical thinking. And so I just want to challenge you today, is there some food or food groups or certain food items that you're saying, oh, I can't eat because it's bad? And if you're saying it's bad, you want to have a sheet of paper out and say, okay, well, what's bad about it? Oh, it's got fat in it. Well, yeah, but fat is a vital nutrient in our life. We need to have that to be vital and keep ourselves together and have nerve conduction and all kinds of features that we could talk about. Oh, well, it's the wrong kind of fat. Well, okay, well, what makes it wrong? And if you can't break it down, and if you can't really provide yourself some evidence-based stuff besides what your mom said, your doctor said, without any context. Now, I'm not saying doctors don't know anything about nutrition. Some know a lot. It's just that if it's still in a very not all-encompassing of all the ways in which we eat and all the factors in which we eat and the big picture of which we eat, then it's not the healthiest information. So it's really important that you break that down. Now, if you've done all the breaking down, it's okay, Tracy, I get it. That if I ate pizza, it's if I'm okay with eating a piece of bread with let's say a piece of cheese, I'm okay with that. But a piece of pizza I see is different, and you can say okay, it's not really that much different. They might have varying levels of fiber or whatever, but I can get fiber somewhere else if I'm not getting in a pizza. It's not a big deal. But if I'm doing this and I'm still having some this, oh, but I can't eat this, and I know it's even calorically not that different from here to here, but I'm still really struggling with that, that's where this is something else. And it's really about it's almost it's this, we know it's not rational, but that doesn't matter, but our body's not feeling safe. And it's really not so much about the food, the nutrition components anymore. It's about, I've created this kind of story to not eat something to help me feel less or more of something else. And that's a whole other video, but I've talked a ton about like the symbolism and metaphor of what we eat. So those can be found in past videos. But for today, your assignment, if you so choose to take it, is to start to look at the foods you've elevated as good and the foods you denigrate as bad. And remember, all food, even if it doesn't have, if it's just straight sugar, like eating, a thing of cotton candy, I fully believe that there is a place for that food too, and it's called vitamin P. You can either call it play or pleasure, whatever you want to call it, and that belongs in our life. It does. And your body, as in its ultimate wisdom, is going to say like, yeah, if I have cotton candy every day for every meal, I'm going to get sick of it. It's not something I'm going to want like all the time. In fact, you might find that that's not your pleasure food, and that's okay, but that will mean that there are probably some foods that you deem not healthy and there's no nutrition in it, and I'm like, give me that ice cream. Let's look at the back of the label here. Oh, we've got some iron, we got some vitamin D in there, some vitamin A in there. Oh, and that fat, wow, I mean, it's going to help you actually absorb the vitamin D and vitamin A in that, from that ice cream that you're getting naturally. Who knew ice cream was so nutritious? We have definitely confused and conflated eating low calorie with being more healthy. It's not. Food's food. And all of it has properties that we need more or less of at different times or different moments in our day. That's the expert we want to follow, is our body. And so for a little bonus exercise, if you get to this place and you're like, oh, well then why am I avoiding pizza? Why am I avoiding ice cream? Then take a risk and have some. If you can't take that risk by yourself, do it with a friend, do it with your kiddo, do it with somebody you trust, and get some evidence that something, yes or no, good or bad, has happened for you, and then you process after that. So thank you all so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please please pass it along to people that, like, that they really need to hear this, like, to get some like really practical, pragmatic, empathetic to the struggle information that we don't need to be duped anymore, that we're somehow powerless over food, that you can't manage yourself, that if you ate one cookie you can't stop. The reason we can't stop eating some of those foods is because we're so deprived of the freedom and the autonomy to do so, and probably some calories too. If you're calorie restricting, you go to eat a cookie, that's an energy rich food, your body's going to want to have more of that. That's just how it is. That's not a lack of willpower. So until next time, take care, and I will see you in the next video. And I would love to hear your thoughts below. Like, what did you notice when you started to challenge your own breaking down those idols of food? Because at the end of the day, food is food. It has all kinds of stuff in it that we could use, and if you are seeing that you're not able to fully, like, I don't know if I buy that I don't know if I want to drink your Kool-Aid, Tracy, get really curious about that. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? And do some comparing. Like, really, just don't take it my word for it, but like break it down. Well, actually, Tracy, this one is like XYZ amount more calories. Okay, well, that just means you're going to be fuller longer. What's not okay about that? And just keep breaking it down. You're going to find at the end of the day, this is really about a couple of things. About fears about weight gain, not really about health and nutrition, and what that would mean about you. And if you're losing your, sometimes we eat or don't eat because it also is a settler for our nervous systems. And so you might find that, like, this is one of the main tools you have, is to not eat, therefore not feel so much, or to eat to not feel so much. And so those are past videos I've done. I will definitely be going over those concepts in future videos. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.